Hey guys, so some of you may already know about this blaster, but recently I commissioned Gel Ball Undercover in Queensland to custom build me a new primary blaster. And they've already done a short overview of it on their own YouTube channel, which is where some of you may have seen this. But if you haven't, I'll leave a link to it down below, which you can watch that as well. First things first, I'd just like to explain that custom built to spec blasters is not usually how Gel Ball Undercover operates. Instead, what they'll do is they'll go ahead and just make a heap of blasters, different colored receivers, different parts, and they'll list them up on their website, already built and ready to ship, and people just choose from those, similar to how an artist would work. In fact, on the same day they built this one for me, they built 5 other custom blasters. So there's always a decent range to choose from, and I'll put a link to that down below if you want to have a browse. But usually they range from about $900 all the way up to $1,800, depending on what's in it and what the externals are as well. Being in South Australia, I had to get this shipped direct from GBU to a firearms dealer here, who slugged me $50 for a transfer fee. And then once I had the blaster in my hands, I had to take it to a police station and pay a further $40 registration fee. So a total of $90 per blaster if you get a new blaster from now on. You can also see by looking at the serial number, this is the 394th registered gel blaster in South Australia out of hundreds of thousands. But without further ado, let's have a look and talk about the blaster itself. Inside of this blaster, it has a fire control unit. What that means is I can completely customize the select fire modes, and right now I have it as semi. I have 5-round burst, and I have full auto. This is shooting 30 rounds per second at around 290 feet per second average. We have a maximum velocity limit of 300 here, which is why I chose to be below that. I could customize this so the semi is a binary mode, so when you pull the trigger and release, it'll fire once each time. Although my favorite fire mode so far is the 5-round burst, because that guarantees that at 30 to 40 meters, a single trigger pull, one of those gels is going to hit someone. So I can put a sight on here, the sight is reliable, and I can move on to other targets after pulling the trigger once. The 5-round burst playstyle also lasts me ages because these SLR mags have a massive capacity. I haven't actually counted it, but it's somewhere between 200 and 300 rounds. Externally, we have one of GBU's custom CNC receivers. We have a 7-inch Midwest handguard and one of these 14mm counterclockwise thread marine suppressors. It has a CAA version 2 polymer grip, and up the back we have a metal X-Power buffer tube. We have a Troy Industries quick detach sling mount and a Magpul M4 buttstock. For the inner barrel, it's using a 7.25mm Aztec stainless steel barrel, which I got shipped from Azrael's Armory to GBU. GBU usually do a 7.5, or I think they're coming out with a 7.15, but I thought the 7.25 would be good for the ultra elite gel balls. Inside the receiver, we have an V2 CNC metal gearbox shell. It's running a 13:1 gear ratio, which are the SHS hardened gear set, along with an M100 spring. Normally, GBU will ship their blasters with an M120 spring, but that would put it above the 300 FPS cap that we play with here. Finally, it's running an SHS high torque motor, probably a little bit overkill for the M100 spring, but that's the kind of motor they normally use in all of their builds. So really all they changed out was the spring to a weaker M100 spring. The star of the show though would have to be the Leviathan V2 fire control unit, or MOSFET. If you don't know what a Leviathan fire control unit can do, basically you can pull out your phone, download the Leviathan app, and Bluetooth connect to your blaster itself. From there you can program a bunch of different cool things, which I'll show you now. Alright, let's just connect to our blaster. So in the app right now you can see I've got the selector switch on safe, programmed to semi, but I can choose from semi as being a burst or a binary or full auto or put it back to safe. On semi I can do the same thing. I've got it set to burst 2, which is 5 shots, and I've got the auto just as full auto. Coming down here, you can dial back your rate of fire if you think it's a bit too fast. I am quite fine with full rate of fire, so I've left it at 100. Active braking, the default setting is 35%, but I pulled it back until I got to the point where I could start noticing a difference, and I went up a tiny bit from there to 20%. I've currently got pre-cocking off because I don't really plan to shoot semi, but if you're playing something like Speed QB, you might want to turn that on once you get to the field, and make sure you turn it off when you get home or something, because leaving the spring cocked will wear down the spring a lot quicker. And delay between shots, I think, is more of a milsim thing. If you're trying to limit people to being more realistic, you could put something in there. Fuse is 100 amps. Low battery indication, I should probably turn on. 3S LiPo, it'll give you a warning when you've got a low battery. Recently, Leviathan added a new feature that'll alert you when you're low on ammo. The way you do that is you count how many shots is in your mag. I haven't counted mine yet, but it's probably somewhere around 250, I'm not too sure. But you leave that at 250. Then you set how many shots do you want left to be notified. So if I set this as 20 and I'm firing 5-round bursts, my last 4 shots of the mag, what it will do is vibrate the pistol grip. And that'll be able to be felt through gloves, and there's a little bit of an audio thing too that you'll be able to hear if you're holding the blaster. And when you get to 0 shots, it'll just stop allowing you to fire the blaster at all. That allows you to prevent dry firing the blaster. But what you do to reset it and tell it that it's got a new mag in is you'd come up here and set, say, safe as virtual reload. So then all you have to do when you reload your new mag, flick it to safe, flick it back to whatever you want to use it on, and that's just told it a new mag is inserted, and you can fire your 250 shots again. And this last one here, reload delay, I think is more of a milsim thing, and for airsoft, I wouldn't touch that with Gel Ball. In here you can see your shot counter. So this blaster, I played half a day last Sunday with it, and it was an epic blaster. But you can see I've fired 4,485 shots so far. Today I've fired 145, so I've still got a fair bit left in that mag. Coming to here though, you can diagnose problems with your blaster. Here you can see I'm getting 30 rounds per second. The SHS high torque is actually capable of around 41 if you go to a high powered battery, but I'm using a Titan 11.1 volts because if I go above 30 with the M100 spring, I may run into pre-engagement issues, so just keeping it safe around 30. And you can see the amps it's drawing, all safe levels, temperatures, etc. And this is always low. Even though we're right next to the blaster, the signal strength is shocking. Oh, and you can see how charged your battery is too. So now I think I've covered pretty much everything physical about the blaster. Let's get on to some performance testing. First up, I'll be doing the Chrony test, remembering we have a FPS cap of 300 here at Battle for Waterloo. Instead of the Caldwell Chrony, I've decided to go with the X-Core Tech because it can do rounds per minute, which then we can cross-reference with our rounds per second in the Leviathan app. First though, I'll just be doing velocities on semi, and I'm using Ultra Elite gel balls. .285, 281, 282, 289, 292, 286, 287, 283, 285, 282, 285, 284, 289, 287, and 283. Looks like we're getting an average around 280, which with a hop-up attached, it does reduce the velocity a little, but when I got this out of the box without a hop-up, it was doing 290. So now I'll whack it in full auto, and we'll just get a rounds per minute. 2014, which if I whip out my phone, divide it by 60, actually getting 33 rounds per minute.
which is 3 rounds per second higher than the Leviathan app was saying.
So the Chrony test done, it was averaging around 280. I'll put the actual number up on the screen because I'll calculate that later. The rounds per second were interesting. It said 33 rounds per second on the Chrony, but in the app that actually counts the turns of the sector gear, it's saying 30. So I'm guessing the Chrony is probably incorrect on that one. The last thing I want to do today is head over and see how accurate this blaster is in a 30-meter accuracy test against a 1-meter diameter target. And then after that, we'll have some gameplay footage. All right, 1 meter, 30 meters, let's go. So I'm just gonna fire on the 5-round burst because that's what I'm pretty much always gonna use. And I just wanna see if it's guaranteed to always hit.
Yep. 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 All right, I'd have to say at 30 meters, it's pretty much impossible to miss that target with the 5-round burst. So I am really happy with the accuracy of this. I didn't really spend a lot of time tweaking the hop up, so it could actually have even better accuracy than that with finer tuning. But we're about to start an event here, so I was a bit rushed for time. Overall, I'm very happy with this build. I'd like to give GBU a big shout out for building this for me so quickly. They actually built it in less than a day, and then it shipped to the firearms dealer I was picking this up from in, again, less than a day. So 2 days total turnaround. To end off the video, I will be adding in some gameplay footage. Hopefully this thing kills it out on the field. Gotcha! Got him.
Oh shit, sorry mate. I hit. No friendly fire anyway. It's no friendly fire, bro. That's alright. I pulled a hit anyway. Brad knows where I am, so he's fucking
Hey, watch it, there's gonna be someone behind these ones. Yeah, being torn in a
tasty.
hit!
Bottom of the tower!
Like
Oh yeah.
Trade.
I am hit.
I see. Double trade.
Yeah, you can. What?